There's so many events that happen daily in life. It's ups, it's downs, it's a twist around towns. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. Just flow with me for a minute, okay? So there's so many things that happen in life, and what makes it extremely bearable is friendship. Whether it's male friends, your girlfriends, or your family, having a true support system is one of the best feelings and just makes life a little bit more easy, a little bit more bearable, and a little bit more funny. Friends really can help you, bring you up, but friends can also bring you down. Sometimes transition with friends happen due to mistrust, due to relationships or people moving and they don't know how to follow up. It's a lot of different things that happen when it comes to friends. There's so many layers to it. So in this episode, we're going to talk about that. We're going to really dive in about friends. And if you don't really have friends like that, it's okay, boo. I'm your friend. We in this together. Let's get into it. My name is Erica. Welcome to the Save the Good Girl podcast. Have a seat, boo. I'm happy to have you here. So I truly value friendships. Like I take friendships very, very seriously. And I really, really value the essence of a friendship, the meaning of a friendship. And I've learned over time that people have different meanings for what a friend is or how they should be as a friend. And it didn't really hit me until I was getting older. I think when you're younger, like elementary, high school, you look at friends in one kind of view, like you're my friend, that's it. And when additional things starts happening in life and when things start to just occur and you go to different phases, you start to kind of see, oh, there's elements, like there's real levels to this shit of friendship. Like there's real levels to it. And I don't think many people understand how serious it is to be a friend. Like being a friend means that somebody, you guys really trust each other. You have fun with each other. You share things with each other, whether it's about like stuff like candy or shopping or your career or dating or love or deeper things about yourself and things that you're learning about yourself or things that you have experienced in life that you've never shared with anybody and you share with your friend. There's a lot of elements to what a friendship is and the benefits of having friends and what it really does for you. With brunching and like having that girl time or talking to my homeboys and just releasing, just letting it out. Because sometimes when you're in your head, you really believe the shit that you're thinking about. Like you really believe all the things you're thinking about. But then when you say it out loud, to your friend, they're like, girl, no. And sometimes even something like that will just kind of humble me and be like, you're right. Or just hearing their perspective on a situation, because there's many times where I would think about something and I would hear a friend say something or a family member, and I'm like, yo, I did not even closely think about it like that. So there's so many different elements to that with being a friend. And I feel like with being a friend, it's like a verbal contract. You are my friend. And when I call you, you need to listen. So, like, when I talk to people on the phone, and you know how you can talk to somebody on the phone and they're scrolling on Instagram, like you can tell they're not focused, like they're not listening to you. Let me tell you something. There's two pet peeves that I have. That's the first one. And I hate listening to people brush their teeth. Don't ask me why. It's like, it's equivalent to like people scratching their nails on like the chalkboard. Oh my God. I hate the sound of people brushing their teeth. Like, it just cringes me. But I really, really hate when I'm on the phone and I'm sharing something and maybe it's a little deep or personal. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. Wow. Oh, wait, what did you say? No, I didn't say shit. Bye. Bye, girl. Let's talk another day because you're not paying attention. I'm not repeating myself. I've been talking for the past 10 minutes. And now you're going to ask me what I said? Bye. Okay. I don't like it. And a lot of my friends and family members, they know. It's just, I don't like it. Don't do it to me because let me tell you, I will hang up the phone and we will talk when you're focused. That whole thing to me is just so disrespectful because when somebody calls me, you have my undivided attention. And as an adult, if I'm busy, I will tell you that I'm busy. I will tell you I can't talk right now. I don't understand why people can't do that. But instead, and then in that moment, you don't know what I'm sharing. You don't know what it is that's really affecting me. But yet, because we live in an era where people just can't, they just have to keep their eyes scrolling and moving. It's like, I find that when people consistently do that to me, I don't share as much with them and I don't talk as much because I feel like, well, you're not really going to pay attention. So let's keep it surface. I won't get deep because I know you can't handle that because your attention span, I can't deal with it. Right. So you got friends like that. Long winded to say, you have people like that in your life. And it's just like, wow, that's crazy. Wow, I hear you. Oh my God. Let's talk about I hear you. I hate that. I'm not going to lie. I don't like I hear you. I don't like I feel you. And I don't like wow, that's crazy because these are all three short responses for AKA I'm not really listening, but I kind of heard you. Or let me be fair, or maybe some people truly just don't know what to say. Okay. I don't know. But I'm telling you, those three phases, don't like it. Why did I do that like I'm Nicki Minaj? I'm not Nicki Minaj. I'm Erica. You're not okay. Anyways, so back to the conversation of friends. And also like with friends, like I really want the best for people. And I realize that sometimes my message can come across a bit repetitive. Sometimes my message can come across assertive because I want the best for my friends. And sometimes people be doing things and I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, you're amazing. You're bomb. You doing dumbass shit. Like, you stupid. And I think about myself and I'm like, I mean, because like, like I'm stupid too sometimes, you know? So I'm just like, we even, right? We're even, okay? So, but I do have this, like, I really care about my friends. I really care about my family. And let's identify friends real quick. Friends are not just, the people you meet at school or, at work or whatever. Friends can also be your family. Like I have cousins who are my friends. My sister's my friend. Like it's a multitude. Your mother could be your friend. Your auntie could be your friend. Like it's a multitude of things. When I say friendship, I'm just talking about the theme of friendship within those relationships. So I just wanted to make that very clear. And with my friends, my family, and all of that, I definitely have relationships with people where I can be tough. Like people know when I'm about to get a little real and they're like, okay, Erica, like fix my life, And I just start going in because I really do want the best for my friends. I really do want the best for the people that I truly love. So sometimes my delivery can be a little tough, but that's only because I love you. That's only because I love you. And I think friends, another great thing about it is that I have a lot of childhood friends who grew up with me. So they were able to see me from 4 or 5 years old until now. And they have been there. I talked about my insecurities and they have been there through that. And they had to be there through all of my mixed emotions and my ups and downs and me tackling dealing with that and so many other things. And there's so many things I wouldn't have been able to go through properly if it wasn't for my friends, if it wasn't for their words, if it wasn't for the dinner. It's not about dinner. It's not about getting drinks. It's not about, going to the mall. Like sometimes, depending on where you are in your life, that dinner could just really shift you. That drink could really shift you. That conversation to remind you of who you are because I find that when you're going through something, you forget who you are. You do. In that moment, you are your circumstance. You feel like that. You feel like that. So when I was unemployed, when I got my heart broken, when I just had insecurities, when I was dealing with all these things, I felt that emotion and I felt like I was that. And then talking to friends and having the advice really just shifted and sometimes it took time, but the point is consistently it shifted how I felt. And they have dealt with like all of that with men, with everything. Like I can talk about everything with my friends and my family, and it really has shaped me. When you have dough and you're about to make, let's say cookies, you got to shape them somehow. Whether you roll it up, whether you have the cookie cutter, you got to shape them. And I think friends really shape your life. Like they really help add to your life, whoever you decide to call, your friend. And it's really special when someone can be vulnerable with you because literally having a friend or sharing things with your friend can literally save or ruin your life. It can literally save or ruin your life. So let me tell you a story. A few years ago, when I was like 22, I was dating this guy. I think I was like 22 or 23. I was dating this guy. I really liked him. Like It was like one of the best first dates I've ever been to. We went to like karaoke, we got drinks in the city, we were on the train, we were making out. Like I really felt like I was in a romantic comedy because we was laughing and kissing. I was like, oh my God, it's so cute. And I really liked him. We talked all the time. I mean, from morning to night. Like every morning before we went to work, we would talk. During the day, we would talk. As soon as we came from work, we would talk. I really, really liked him. And then I don't know what had happened, but he was acting a bit different. And I mean, we kind of know when things are a little funny, and I picked it up. He was communicating, but not as much. And I'm like, what's going on? So I remember I went out and I didn't want to go. My friends forced me, like, girl, just go, just go. Like, we're going to have fun tonight, whatever. I did not want to go. But I was like, you know what? I've been crying for like a couple of days because I knew, like, even though he was calling me, like, I knew something was up. I knew it. So I went out and then I got dressed. I look mad cute, by the way. Okay, let me tell you something. Let me tell you one thing. I don't look like my current emotion either. You understand? I was sad, I was crying, but my face was so smooth, like the butter you just put in the skillet this morning. That was my skin. Mad smooth. So then that's mad New York. I'm from New York, so you're gonna hear vernaculars that come out, mad, son, it's part of my history. So anyways, so yeah, my skin is mad smooth. I remember I was wearing this like blue one shoulder aqua, and my shoulder was like shiny. You know, you put the little glitter in the shoulder, like you shining. So like when I walked in the club, like when you're walking through a music video, that's how I felt when I walked in. I'm not kidding, okay? Because I create scenarios in my mind. So I walked in, I saw all my friends, I gave them a hug. Everybody talked about how beautiful I looked, and I'm like, but I felt like shit. Like I really felt like crying. And I was with my friends, whatever, got really drunk, and my friend was like, I was like, I don't know what I should do. Like, we talked this morning, but I didn't hear from him. And because we used to talk a lot, me and this guy, us not talking during the day was weird because we would talk during the day, talk at night. And I'm like, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock and you didn't call me. So my friend was like, girl, call him right now. Meanwhile, let me just make this clear. I had a couple of vodka, cranberry. The early drinks. Can I get a vodka, cranberry? Can I get amaretto sour? The early drinks. So I had that because I can't take vodka right now. Hell no, it's not my friend. But I had that. I had vodka and like cranberry. I had a couple. Like I was drunk. Okay, to put it simply, I was drunk. Okay, and then she's like, call him, call him, call him, call him, call him, like just fiending for me to call him. And I was drunk, so I was susceptible. And I called him, and I called him, and I called him, and I called him. I think I called him a couple of times. Maybe like 5 times, times 2. I don't know. You can figure it out. I don't know. But I did call a couple of times because I was drunk. And whatever awkwardness that was happening, I definitely made it worse because I kept calling him. The meaning of this story is, I don't know what would have happened between me and this guy, but I don't think it was a smart idea for my friend to tell me to call him. And now it's like, it was already funny from the beginning, so it probably was going to end anyway. But I'm just saying, like the influence that your friends can have on you in that way. And also another thing was, I remember I had an internship and I was just very emotional one day, like. I was just emotional and I did not like the manager and I felt like he didn't like me and I took things very personally and I was ready to quit. And one of my friends, we're still friends to this day. She was like, like you so sensitive and you need to stop and you got to pick yourself back up and you can do this. You're so smart, blah, blah, blah. And if it wasn't for that little pep talk, I remember we were right by the train station. If it wasn't for that pep talk, I would not have stayed in that internship because I was extremely emotional. And had she told me, yes, girl, you should leave because he's crazy. Because I'm so emotional and because I'm in a state of vulnerability and confusion, I would have left because my insecurity was telling me to leave. The courage, which is sometimes what our friends can be to us, the courage voice in our minds is what made me stay. So when you are in a vulnerable place, whether you are that person or you're giving the advice or taking the advice, being a friend is a very serious role. And I don't think people talk about this enough. You know, we see the little videos like chats with your girlfriend. Chat. It's not about just drinking with your girls. Like this whole idea, that's not what it's about. Sometimes it's deeper. Like I have male friends too that I talk to. I have my family that I talk to. And I can say that I'm very blessed to have a great circle of people around me that keeps me very grounded. But it's not just about that. It's really about the fact that being vulnerable with people is hard. It's really hard to just sit there and be honest. And it's like, oh my God, I'm telling you everything. And also receiving that. So when somebody's being honest with you. So for me, I take friendships very seriously. If you are calling me a friend and I'm calling you a friend, I take that friendship seriously. I don't take what you tell me as like a light thing. Like I want to make sure that I'm there for you. I'm supporting you. I'm pushing you to your best self. I'm really just listening to you, like really giving you my true attention because I know how it feels when you're letting it out and somebody's like being disrespectful. Don't like it. you know so I really understand how important that is. And because there's so many different types of friends, you have your childhood friends, you have college friends, you have your elementary school friends, you have friends that you have met in extracurricular activities, you have friends that you met at work, you have friends that you talk to every quarter. So you have the quarter friends, you have the popcorn friends. They just pop up, ain't no judgment. You just pop up like popcorn. It's cool, a little butter, it's fine. You have the event friends. They only call you when it's like birthdays, babies, marriages. I got a new condo, come by. I love you, girl. So I'm gonna come. You have those kind of friends. And then you have your family friends. And then you have those weird friends where it's like, y'all don't really talk like that. But when you guys talk, it's like nothing happened. Like you could you could talk once a year and it's like nothing happened. Like we just catch up for like 6 hours, but it's all good because that's just how the dynamic works. So there's so many different dynamics when it comes to friendships. There's so many different dynamics when it comes to that. And the thing is, when I have my E True Hollywood story, because I'll be famous one day, my friends can attest to me. They can attest to my personality. And I can truly say that I had a really great support system. And some friends, in addition to all the things that I said, some friends are all in one. Some friends you can talk about everything. And then some friends you can't talk about everything because some friends you feel like, this topic is not for you. And sometimes you feel like it's just all around. And I think that it's so important and it's so beautiful to have friendships that really just warm your soul. Like it's really great to have a great circle of friends. And if you don't feel like your circle is as solid, then yeah, you should definitely look into that. But friendships it's beautiful, man. Like having drinks and going out to brunch and going shopping is really, really great. But when you have a friend that really feeds your soul, I mean, that's better than anything. Like that can literally shape and change your life, your money, meeting your man, dealing with him or family. Like it can really shape how you look at things. And sometimes friends be acting up. Speaking of man, sometimes friendships transition. They just kind of they just move a little bit. Let's get into that because sometimes friends, I love them, but sometimes they do transition. So let's talk about how friendships change. So, what causes friendships to have a shift, have a transition, or sometimes even end? There's so many things I can get into. I'm just going to get into a few, but there's so many things that can cause a friendship to shift. One of the things are arguments or disagreements, or if somebody said something that's just like really hurtful that they just can't come back from it because it's so deep, or they've done something so deep where it's betrayal, you don't trust them anymore, and it just really put like a hole to the friendship. It just really affected the friendship, and you just can't really see how to move forward. So sometimes in situations like that, with forgiveness and healing, it can change your outlook on that friend. Maybe you don't hate them as much, but you have to love them from a distance. And I do believe that certain friends you do have to love from a distance. Or sometimes with certain people, you just have to let them go. You need to know when to reassess and reevaluate your friendships and see how this person is treating you, and do you really like how they're treating you? How do you really feel about the friendship? Are you just holding on due to longevity? Because a lot of people do that. They hold on because we've been friends for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, and it's hard for them to let go. But if this friend is not serving you properly, maybe, it's time. But you are the only person that can really assess that. And then you have people who just grow apart. It could be deep or not. Like nothing may happen, right? It's like nothing happened that was so detrimental, but maybe the interest or the way that you're shifting in life and how you're moving, they don't care for how you're moving, or you don't care for how they're moving. And it's just, you're not in sync anymore. Like the conversations are dry. You're not really sharing much. You're not really being vulnerable. And, you're not hanging out. And naturally, it's just fading. For whatever reason, it's just fading. Like that spark you once had, because you can also lose your spark with your friends. It's not just about a romantic relationship. You can lose a spark with family members. You can also lose your spark with your friends. You could lose a spark with coworkers. I mean, no one is exempt, right? So it's like you can lose your spark with people where you're just kind of like, I'm not feeling this no more. Like, I don't like the way you move. Or sometimes when you see how people act and how they move and how they treat others, that can also deter you. And like, although you didn't do it to me, you could do it to me, and I'm not feeling that energy. And sometimes it's really about energy too. Like sometimes people's energy is just so negative and detrimental, and you're kind of like, you know what? I need you to just kind of sort that out because I don't want to be around that. We talked about protecting, nourishing your energy. So sometimes with some people, you just have to kind of just, keep them to the side. Another thing is miscommunication. We have these arguments, or I assume something and you assume something, and now everybody's just upset, but no one talked about it. So what about if we actually talked about it? Miscommunication via text. I hate texting. I'm not a texter. I'd rather talk on the phone or send a voice note because texting is so impersonal. It's so subjective. It's not, to me, a true sense of accuracy when it comes to emotional conversations. When it comes to like, hey girl, look at this. Or I text my homeboy, like, what do you think about this? Or texting my family members, hey, look what I did. That's different. Texting is really great in many ways. But when I'm talking about like a deep conversation, vulnerability, I don't like to text people. If you're at work or if you're at a place where like a function, or you're at a show or a movie or whatever, and you can't talk, that's not the appropriate time to have a conversation about something deep. Evaluate where you are and evaluate whether this is a texting convo or a conversation where you got to call me or we got to see each other in person, because certain conversations you just can't have via text. I don't believe in writing textbook messages over my emotions. I'd rather just talk to you. So just call me when you're free. So I think that's another big thing. We've gotten so used to text messaging, like miscommunication is just through the roof, So I think a lot of times that can, people assume certain things and it's not even the way you said it, or you didn't mean it this way, or they might have said something and they didn't mean it that way. But we don't know that because the miscommunications is clouding the whole thing, and that miscommunication can cause years of damage to a friendship. And when people finally talk, it's like, oh, I didn't know that. And it's like, yeah, if you talk to them, you would have known. You would have known. Another thing is limited effort. There's no effort sometimes from people. You're the one that's calling. You're the one that's setting the dates. You're the one that's setting calendar invites. You're the one that's following up. You're the one that's checking in. You're the one. You are putting effort. You are giving this relationship 110%. When you have a friend, you are also in a relationship as well. You're giving this friendship 110%, and they're giving you 20%. Mathematically speaking, if you're looking at that equation, that doesn't make sense, right? And at some points, it gets tiring, whether you're the one that's giving 110% or you're not giving 110%. At some point, it gets tiring when you're always the one calling, you're always the one checking, and you're just going to be like, you know what, I'm good, because this person, they don't really check on me. They don't really call me. I'm always checking on them. So I'm good. And they seem to be okay. So I guess, let me just fall back and just whenever they're ready to talk to me, they'll talk to me. And sometimes they won't talk to you and they'll just kind of leave you alone. But other times, another point to consider is that people really go through internal struggles and they don't know how to deal with that. They don't know how to just talk about it. They don't know the solution because they're really trying to figure out themselves. So sometimes it's not even personal. It's not about you. It's not about just the fact that they don't care. Sometimes people are really in their heads and it really gets to them. And some people, they have to go into a cocoon and they just don't want to talk to anyone. And before you assume, before you say, like, I do this and I do that, check in, because sometimes maybe it is the person just doing limited effort, but sometimes it could be like, you know what, I was actually really going through this and I didn't share this with anyone, but this is what I was dealing with. And I've definitely had moments like that where I was going through things and I'm like, just didn't want to talk to anybody. It happens. So sometimes it really could be that, where it's just dealing with internal struggles. And then a lot of other transitional things in life. Sometimes people move, sometimes people they change their faith, and sometimes with changing your faith, sometimes changes the things that you can do with the faith that you associate with. Or sometimes it could be that you get into a relationship, and for some reason, sometimes when people get into relationships, they start to change a bit. you know, they get a little dick, they get sick. I don't know, they get amnesia, they forget, and it's like, listen, boo, I'm happy that you have a man. That's great. It's wonderful. But this person just got into your life. So it's just okay to just forget about everybody. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, I value my friendships and I care about them. And I think a lot of people balance the friendships and having a man very well, and others don't. They really change. Like even the way they talk, the way they act, it's like, girl, that's not how you act. That's not how you talk. Why you talking like that? Why are you talking like that? You ain't talk like that. Um, and just like the relationship really changed, respectfully, I'm not going to call one of my married friends at like 1 o'clock in the morning, because I wouldn't want if somebody called me at 1 o'clock in the morning, unless it's an emergency. If you're in a relationship and you're married, right, just respecting the relationship, and this person's living with the man, they're together, so you don't want to call somebody at 1 o'clock in the morning. And just also just having that balance. I know people who are married and it doesn't feel like our friendship ever skipped a beat, because we make time for each other. We make it a priority to talk, and we follow up with each other, whether it's with voice notes, whether it's like FaceTiming each other for a couple of minutes. Like I literally will have friends that, like, we're having a FaceTime date where, the effort is still there. And others don't know how to balance. Some people just don't know how to balance it. And some people don't know how to deal with the transition of being in a relationship. And I don't feel like you should talk to your friends in front of your man. I mean, I would see my mom talk to her friends and her family members. And whenever my father would come home, respectfully, she would give him his attention, because, men need their attention. And she would get off the phone and whatever and talk to my dad. Men are very nosy, by the way. So when you start talking about things in front of your man, he's listening. It's a whole big thing. I get there's pillow talk. I know that when people are married, they're going to talk to their man. I get that. But let me just say my piece about this. Your man is not my friend. Your man does not need to know intimate things about me, because we all are changing. And sometimes men can hold a grudge for things. Like you tell your man something about your friend, and that's them. That's it. Like they attribute that one characteristic for like 30 years. So my thing is this. I understand there's pillow talk. I understand that your man is your best friend. That's your best friend. That's not my best friend. So there's certain details I think that shouldn't be shared. Here is the bonus thing. I think that it's appropriate for things to be shared if it's affecting your relationship. I think that if something happened between you and your friend to the point where you're sad and you're down and you're crying and you don't know how to deal with it, and it's really bothering your whole energy to the point where that energy is transferring to your man, then yes, you should talk about it. I think that if it's something that's like detrimental where you need advice and you're like, yo, I don't know what to do, babe, then you should talk about it. But this whole talking to your man in front of people and sharing things that you share with your friend in confidence, and then you're sharing that with your man, I don't respect it. That's just me. I don't respect it. And my thing is, you do what you want, but I just feel like out of the contract that we have as friends is confidentiality, right? Like if I'm sharing something with you, it's with you. And respectfully, the same thing with me. Once I get my relationship and my man, I understand that there's boundaries, but I don't think a lot of people get that. Like your man doesn't have to know everything about every single person in your life. He can know everything about you. That's in your vows, right? The whole no secrets and telling each other everything. Yes, about you. Go deep with you. I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with that. He is not my friend. He is not my friend. So, I feel like if somebody has in a relationship, they it's a balance, Some people don't know how to balance that. But like, yo, call me when he leaves. Call me when he's not in a room. Cause honestly, for me, I don't really feel comfortable talking about anything with your man being present. Like that's weird to me. Like I don't feel comfortable with that. That's just me. And I just feel like, again, I have friends who are definitely, just really into balancing. They never skipped a beat. They really make it seem easy and just makes it feel like, like, okay, you can have a man and also have friends. And because like I said before, I value friendships so much. I want to have a balance with being in love and being in a relationship and also being with my friends. Like there's just certain things that you can't do with your partner that you can do with the girls, you can do with the family. There's a different type of feeling with that. And I need that in my life. Some people they're all about their man. They're like, you know what, babe, it's me and you against the world. That's not my mantra, but hey, I respect it. If you like that, that's cool. No judgment. But this whole me and you against the world, no, it's not. Because honestly, as I've stated, there's so many people that shape who you are. And it's unfortunate that sometimes when this does occur, this beautiful moment of love, and you forget about the people who were there for you. You forget about where you came from with these people and all the things that you've done. Yes, when you're married or in a relationship, you can't do everything all the time. And that's understood. I understand. But you also can't just throw away people now because you're in a relationship. Like, I completely get that. But you have to be cognizant of the fact that there were people here before your man. There were people here before your girl. And I know that I can't slang D, but I can make you some tea. I mean, I didn't mean that for it to rhyme either, but I could spit fire sometimes. Like sometimes I could, but but yeah, so I just feel like, there's certain things that causes these breakups with friendships. And honestly, sometimes it's necessary because sometimes you just got to break up. It's just not serving you. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. It's just like, I got to go. And unfortunately, there's all these other factors that come into play. And I believe in having an open door policy. I believe in having that. I think that it's very imperative to forgive people, let go of that hurt, and leave an open door policy in terms of like if somebody wants to come back and just revisit a conversation and talk to you and just kind of straighten some things out on their end, give them the opportunity to do so. I have an open door policy with everybody in my life. I forgive people. It takes a lot of work and emotional maturity to do these things, but I forgive people because it's too much energy to hold a grudge. And I forgive you. So with me being forgiving and just kind of like letting go of the hurt, I can have an open door policy where we can talk. I can't guarantee the validity of our friendship. I can't guarantee the validity of our relationship. I can't guarantee that it's going to be the same, but I will guarantee that I'll give you an ear. I will guarantee that I'll be mature enough to listen and I will let you explain and I'll explain and we can move on amicably as adults. Like that I can guarantee. And I think that when dealing with transitional friendships, with all the things that I've said, another thing is forgiveness, right? Like just forgiveness so that you can get to a space of having an open door policy so that you can talk it out. Because sometimes when you talk it out, things get back to normal and sometimes it doesn't. And that's also okay. That is also okay. So with everything being said about friendships, there's always things we can do to make our friendships better, make them stronger, reevaluate ourselves. So what can we do to kind of just have a fix up, the medication for friendships, like either getting them back together or resolving them or just kind of understanding them a bit deeper and or maybe ending them, right? So what can we do? Let's get into that right now. We will get back to this fabulous episode, but I just wanted to let you know that you can find Save the Good Girl on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube. There is also a chance for you to be featured on the show. Check out the link in the description to send me a voice message. In addition to the podcast, did you know that Save the Good Girl has a blog? Be a part of VIP by subscribing to the email list on SaveTheGoodGirl.com. So many options to stay connected. All right, let's get back to the episode. All right, so how can we make this better? The main thing is really to be very clear and very direct. Express how someone made you feel. When you said this, it made me feel this way. When you did this, it made me feel this way. Or I interpret it this way. Be very clear with what you're saying. Don't wait for the person to have a feeling or you want them to know what's going on. Like they should know. People don't. So you need to be clear and let them know what's going on, how you're feeling, or how did something they said or did, how did that really affect you? Be very open and honest with that and be very, very clear with that. Another thing, don't assume. Do not assume. Understand when to pick up the phone and call. Do not leave it to texting when it comes to a deeper conversation. Understand your communication opportunities and how to utilize them. Maybe having a deep conversation on Instagram or Facebook Messenger is not the best idea. Maybe you can just do it via email if you don't really feel like talking or actually calling them. But the best thing of all is to meet them in person. Like that trumps everything. And I understand that that takes a lot of courage with people because you have to confront someone. And I know confrontation is not easy, but understand that texting can be subjective. And if you really want your message to be clear, it's best that you either do it on the phone or do it in person so that nothing can be misconstrued and you can answer any questions immediately. Like, I feel like that's one of the best things to do. Challenge your friends, call them out. Call them out. Listen, you're doing this, you're doing that. What's going on? Like, really, really challenge your friends. You know, sometimes I think another thing that can kind of really mess up a friendship is if you see your friend going down a rabbit hole and you never said anything, you never did anything, you never tried, challenge your friends, challenge the relationship. Listen, I always call you, you don't call me. What's going on? Like, really call them out, put them on the spot, put your relationship on the spot with your friend and see like what's going on, because a simple conversation in that moment could change everything. Like it can resolve, a 10-year miscommunication. Own up to your shit. That's if you're wrong, be honest about how you feel and everything. But if you did something and you're wrong, it's okay to say you fucked up. It's okay to say I'm sorry. It's okay to say, you know what? I overreacted. I didn't mean to do this, blah, 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 because of X, Y, and Z. But own up to it. Apologize. Just own up. Like say your piece and own up to your shit. Another thing is make a firm date and stick with it. If you have a FaceTime date or a meetup for coffee, a meetup for drinks, a brunch date or whatever, don't be flaky. Don't be flaky all the time. That's annoying. When you have a solid date, and yes, things come up, you can reschedule, but make it a priority when the relationship may be in turmoil, or maybe you miss your friend. You just miss your friend. Maybe nothing happened. You just miss them. Make it a priority to make a date for you to communicate with them, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on, like we live at a time right now, there's no excuse. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have WhatsApp, you have voice notes, you have text messaging, you have phone calls, you have FaceTime. Damn, email, stop it. You don't have an excuse, not in 2020. So, pick what you want, but make it a priority to have a date with your friend. Make it a priority to check in with your friends. Make that a priority. Like, it's really important to just be in tune with what's going on. Another thing is keep your friend's business from your man. Your man does not have to know everything about your friends. You took the vow, or you are in this relationship and you're doing that together. And also vice versa. If you're on the receiving end and you don't feel comfortable about your friend sharing things about you, then you should definitely let them know that. If you're the friend that has a man, understand your boundaries and understand that maybe there's certain things that people don't want to talk about in front of your spouse. It has nothing to do with you. Like, they love you. Y'all been friends for years. So just understand the balance, understand the boundaries, understand the level of the conversation. If we're talking about things on ASOS and we're talking about candles and we're talking about surface shit, I don't care if your man is in the room. But if I'm telling you something that's like deep in my core or something that's really affecting me that requires a different level of attention, I don't need Jim Jones in the background. You know, Jim Jones, he loves to ad lib. I don't need all of that in my ear. Okay. So understand the balance between your friends and your man and the communication style between your friends and your man, you know, because I've seen how not understanding that balance, how it can really affect your friendships, you know. And the end solution, the number one solution of them all is to follow up. Life happens, things happen. But what the reason why the balance and all of these things happen, you need to follow up with your friends. Check in, do the date, tell them how you feel, but follow up. If you're busy today and you can't talk, that's fine. Another thing that really ends friendships is the fact that people don't follow up. Like, they just say, "Oh, I can't," and that's it. And that's it. So it's like, okay, you can't on Tuesday, but what about Wednesday? And I have friends who are like, "Hey, I can't do this Tuesday, but what about next Thursday at 3 o'clock? Are you free?" I respect that. I love that. And I'm the same way. And, you know, we'll continue to like follow up, but follow up. Like, that's like really important. And also understanding that should your friend be going through something a little bit more internal, be compassionate. Do not make this about you. It is not about you. Be compassionate at that point when it has been revealed that it's something personal, that it's not about the friendship. They didn't mean to be, you know, have disappearing acts. They didn't mean to do that. They're just going through something. It's not about you. People grieve differently. People internalize differently. People deal with insecurities differently. People deal with rejection differently. So we can't just hold that sometimes. Once they have revealed that, be compassionate. Just say, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. How are you now? How are you feeling right now? And just put it to the side. Don't hold a grudge. Just, all right, cool. Cool. And then, you know, that these are just some tips to just kind of consider. Sometimes you do need to reevaluate your circle. You do need to reevaluate who you're talking to. You do need to reevaluate the messages that they're giving you and what you're giving them and how you truly feel. You do need to reevaluate these things and decide whether or not you want to be friends with people, because sometimes, again, the relationship is just not serving you. But if it is, I do think it's worth your while to also forgive. You know, we talked about that forgiveness and just kind of keeping an open heart, to have an open mind, to have, you know, an open soul, and just talk about it and move on, whether you decide to be cool or not. So these are just, you know, certain things to think about. You know, what do you think about these things? Am I missing something? Let me know, like, how do you feel about what I've said in terms of like the different things that causes friendships to drift apart and etc. Like I said, I love and value my friends. Like, it is a contract. Like, you are my friend, you're my homeboy, you're my family, you're my sister. And I love the idea of that strong circle of people supporting you. If it wasn't for my friends, you guys would not be listening right now on this podcast. I have friends who have bullied me to success. I have friends who have believed in me when I did not believe in myself, when I've lost myself, when I've been down and out. I did not see anything at one point anymore. I let my circumstance define who I was. And if it wasn't for them to be there for me in every way, emotionally, financially, spiritually, like in every single way, these people were there for me. My family, my friends, you know, like, they were really, really there for me. And I think that when you have that circle and bond, you have to protect it. You have to shield it. You have to question it. You have to guide it. You have to repair it. you have to repair it, because sometimes, many times, these things are repairable. Many times these things are forgivable. So we just got to shift that about, how do you really feel about friendships? Like, what is your true definition of a friend? Is it just going to brunch and getting drinks? Is it just talking about men all the time? Is it just, just talking about nothing? Is it just talking about deep things? What is your true definition of a friend? And to make it even deeper, how do you measure up to your own definition of a friend? How are you as a friend? Like, take a look at yourself in the mirror and see how you measure up to yourself. So I just think that there's, this topic can go on for like ever. I'm pretty sure I'll have more episodes about it. But I just think that understanding the importance and value and reparations of friendships is so important, because they really do shape who we are, who we become, and also who we want to be. Because friends can also be inspiring, like, they're just bomb. There's so many ups and downs with friendships, and navigating friendships as we navigate adulthood, as we transition in life, as we change within ourselves, and the wants and needs that we used to have, it's just not the same anymore. And there's so many things that can alter how we look at people, and then more importantly, how we look at ourselves. I really want to dedicate this episode to all of my friends who have been there for me, my family members who have been there for me, who never gave up on me, who's pushed me, who has made me believe in myself when I just didn't, who really believed in my capabilities and my abilities and reminded me of who I was, reminded me of how special I was and how beautiful I was. And I never take all of those things for granted. I never take these conversations, the lunches, the coffee, meeting up, the activities, just laughing, smiling. I never, ever take those things for granted. And I think that if you're able to even have one friend, you are very blessed, whether it's your mother, your father, your cousin, your homeboy, your sister, your cousin. I say cousin, but your friends. Like, if you're able to call one person a friend, you have a lot. There's a lot of gems that comes with friendships, and there's a lot of things that happens where it transitions, and that's okay too. Sometimes things are not meant to last forever. So with certain friendships and relationships, it'll happen. And if you can repair a friendship or keep an open door policy, I suggest you try that. Try that to keep yourself in that really great space, to just keep it nice and calm and inviting in the event that somebody does want to talk to you and see how things are going. But there's always work that we can do. And I really hope that this episode gave you some ideas, some fulfillment, a better understanding of how to just kind of look at yourself and how you feel you are as a friend, and how you're going to communicate maybe a little bit better as a friend. But I wanted to leave you with a quote from Tracy Ellis Ross. And the quote said, "Friends can see you when you can't see yourself." And boy, if that's not the truth, I don't know what is, because they did. They really, really did. So to my friends, thank you so much, guys. I love you. I finally did it. I know y'all was mad annoyed with me. I know, but I did it. Okay. But tell your friend you love them. Text them, call them, just say what's up, tell them you love them. It was so great chatting with you today. It was so great. This topic was a little bit longer because, it's a little bit more to discuss. And it's really, really important to just fix some things out when it comes to friends. But you know what, guys? It's okay, because guess what? There's another episode coming up. There's another episode next week. So check back in, and I can't wait to talk with you again. My name is Erica. Welcome to Save the Good Girl. Have a phenomenal day, week. And don't forget to text your friend. Like don't forget to text her back, okay? Or your homeboy. Just text them. You'll thank me later. Bye. I feel like we're connecting, so let's make sure we're connected. You can find Save the Good Girl on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Did you know about the Save the Good Girl blog? Yes, there is a blog. Check out SaveTheGoodGirl.com to subscribe to the fabulous VIP email list and be the first to know about new podcast episodes, new blog posts, and giveaways. In addition to listening to Save the Good Girl on many platforms like Apple, Google, Spotify, and many more, you can also subscribe to the Save the Good Girl YouTube channel if YouTube is more of your thing. There are so many options to stay connected and be a part of the Save the Good Girl community. For all updates, or if you just want to contact contact me to say hello, ask me a question, or send me a comment, check out the contact section on SaveTheGoodGirl.com.